a classic British track. Everybody's ready to go. The engines now start to rev as, well, I thought they were going to. Yeah, there we go, as I thought Pellerito needed to wait. And the green flag is now out as they come off the line down into Old Hall Corner. And Mikola is trying to challenge his Sada as he goes deep into the first corner, and he's going to take the lead away. The fin is up to the front, and is that going to be critical? In the background, we got a big schmozzle, and it looks like multiple cars are off. I see, it looks like Ben Zoko, unfortunately, finding his day end off on a sour note.
Yeah, it looked like Neil Kemp, I think it was. Oh, no, it was David Rossi. I think it looked like I'm just watching now. Yeah, Neil Kemp spun it, and yeah, there was nowhere for the guys to go behind. Real shame. David Rossi was off on the left-hand side. He's coming back on. I think he's in last place now. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage. But yeah, great start. It's always a nightmare at this place. That turn one is seriously hard. Not much room from the grid as well, and the pole sitter is on the left-hand side, Joe. I was going to notice that. Note that in the pre-race build-up. It's tough to get away from the line on the left-hand side. You sort of expect the right-hand car to be, alongside you. If he gets a good start, you've got no chance into the first turn. But yeah, there you go. It's so annoying, man. It's weird. You'd expect pole to be on the right-hand side of this place.
Yeah, it certainly caught things out. We got a replay of that incident. Let's take we're going to the onboard cam rather of Laus Olsen here in the number 9. He's now up to 6th place, which is where he starts. He hasn't really gained and lost anything, but the big change are those top two between Mikko and Togo. And honestly, you can see up ahead, it's quite the battle forming. Ove Trankerid's also getting involved, so a 3-way fight potentially for the lead. And if Mikko is a little bit slower, this is going to be immense pressure make this whole race for him to hold back the Japanese driver.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And Togo will already be planning on where to pass the guy. Toughest thing to do is to get round it, and you just have to nail that the exit onto the back straight, try and get down the inside there. But has Togo done what I said and practiced that right-hand line? Because I think he might need it today.
He's going to hold him off for now, coming up into Knickerbrook for the second time, as they're going to stay in line, thankfully. It's a little too early to be trying moves of that nature in this race. Neil Kemp and David Rossi have come into pit lane, so the damage was enough for them, but it looks like Zoko did not have to end his day as he carries on, last runner on the track right now. We ride on board with Hisada as he follows in Mikko's footsteps. Ove Trankerid you got to worry about too, because here's a guy, you talk about the lack of practice. I don't think he gives a rip about strategy or anything in any of these races. I think Ove's just here to race, plain and simple.
Yeah, in every series he drives, that's what he wants to do. He just wants to have a good fight with anyone. And yeah, he's learning track, Joe. That's just the only way you can say it about Ove. He doesn't practice that much. He's done about 10-15 minutes this morning. And then straight out on track, and he's mixing up with the leaders yet again. They're all looking pretty good though. Just watching Togo, he's getting a nice run out of the left-hander there, and then a nice tight entry into fast. This is such a hard corner, and then you want to get right down into the camber of this corner and get on the power. And second gear corner, hard on the power now coming out. See how the rear end of the car is nice. Oh, Ove lost the back end a bit there, so yeah, he's still getting used to it.
Well, I'm impressed that Mikko has been able to retain that lead, because Togo's had some opportunities. We've seen him slow off a couple corners, and yet still Hisada has not really gotten his nose in. I'm not sure if he's trying to play patient or he just doesn't trust the track enough at this point. They all go shallow. Look at that odd line for the double apex or Druids.
Yeah, that's the line you actually want. I think all the practice sessions I did this week, which was a few, I mean, it's better to take that inside line. There's a lot of corners that are like that here. Turn one's a bit of an animal to get into as well, because the line of the track sort of throws you away from the edge of the track, so you can see them coming down here, and they'll just disappear off the edge and then turn in. The next left-hander, well, down the hill they go, but the next left-hander is the same. You just want a nice tight entry. You don't want to go too wide. So there you go. So watching from the middle of the track, that's your entry. Try not to run out too wide there, and this is the scary one. This is such a hard corner in the 49 coming up.
Yeah, this is Island Bend, and it's definitely not flat out like it is in modern cars. You can see them have to try and get it right off to the left-hand side as they all break into Shell Oil Corner. And coming off there, this time it's Hasada who goes a little bit deep. Tranqueray can't capitalize. And then over to Hilltop. I'm glad you mentioned Hilltop. I hate this straight. Look at them dance as the car goes over. I've ended races on a straight there.
Well, I'm surprised that no one else has today yet. This morning I did a lot of practice and I was hot lapping and I counted how the side by side jump.
Yeah,
right outside, he's getting it. Yeah, he's getting it.
Looks like he is through the narrow part of Clay Hill. That's going to put Togo Hisada back to the top and into the lead. Will we see them stay together, or is now that he's got clear air, will we see the Japanese driver pull ahead? Great catch on this, Mick. He capitalized quickly.
Yeah, it was a beautiful move as it goes. It's in literally the hardest place to do it as well. You're on your limit there, just running on your own, trying to get the car through that corner. But not sure what Toad's going to be like watching the mirrors for a little while. But lap times in quali, they don't lie. So you can already see a little gap forming now between the leaders. And Uwe's going to want to get involved in this now because he's not going to want Togo to disappear.
Absolutely not. If we get a chance, can we check in on Seb Tixia? He's in 14th already. So the man has made up 13 positions, and he's got a few more in front of him. This is Xavier Sanchez, Miro Haraski, and Javier Mosquera, 3 regulars in this car. So we'll see if he can do anything to get past them. Come up and over Hilltop once again, moving a little bit up towards Brian Walker, who's just ahead of them. And he's going to try and go on the attack here on Watson as we check out his onboard cam, but Watson will rebuff him, and that's a good example of what we were just talking about, Mick, about how tough it is usually to try and pass there.
Yeah, it really is tough. They call this place the mini Nürburgring, don't they? The Nürburgring's a nightmare to pass just because of the nature of the track, and it's a thin track. It's not a wide place. It's not like Spa here. So you got to think all the time around this place. There's no let up. And in the 49, even the back straight, there's no let up. This morning I counted out 5 times that the car gets airborne around this place on a hot lap. So yeah, it's so tough. It really is tough to do this.
I don't think Sebastian agrees with your assessment. In the 30 seconds we've been away from him, he's passed Sanchez and Brasky already.
Yeah.
So I think he jokingly said in the text before the race started, thankfully easy to pass here. So I'm assuming that was sarcasm, but man, he's kind of proven himself wrong on that if that was the case. Up to 12th now. Just an amazing run from the Singapore driver as he just about loses it coming out of the hairpin there.
I noticed this morning, Joe, I sat on board with Seb. Seb was as quick as anything. He was a 10th off of Togo this morning, and his car was all over the place on the power. The rear end was all over the place. I just don't know how he got around the track. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot from that from Seb today.
Well, right now on board with Miko, we see Ove Trangarate ahead of him. He passed him in the same spot that Togo did, and wasn't quite as wide, it looked like, from I could see on my replay. We're going to pull it up here, Mick. But the 16 doesn't seem to be very good at this Knickerbrook corner.
Oh yeah, he was well wide there. Yeah, that's just a missed braking point, and yeah, Uwe's not going to mess around there.
So we're going to give it one more look here from Scandinavian's perspective. Yeah, he was up past him very, very quickly. So that was brave from Ove to make that stick, and Miko could not hold them back, even though he started from second. He's down to third. Now, in fact, John Olsen is quickly on him along with Jorge Nieva, former F2 champion, now F1 driver. If you're wondering what we're talking about between F1 and F2, they are all driving the same car. They just delineate the two series essentially by iRating. So that gives people who might not be as competitive with the top guys something to fight for in terms of championship. And Nieva has been promoted in recent seasons and has proven why time and again, frankly.
Yeah, David just had a brilliant exit out of Knickerbrook there onto the straight, and yeah, he's just starting to close up with John. John's a good driver. John, he's come on leaps and bounds in pace wise. and I'm just waiting for him to get like a real good, decent finish, you know, maybe even a win to really kickstart him. You know, he's just on the verge of it.
Yeah, we've seen him up there. He's been top 5s, definitely top 10s pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But at what point does he maybe snag himself a win here? Take a look at Yeba and Quesada now, between the pace of the pair of them. Quesada definitely faster these past couple laps, but I wonder if that is a sign right there, because I suspect those 3 laps ago is when Togo made that pass, and it's already about a second ahead of Trangrade. So I think what I was wondering has come true, Mick. It looks like Togo was being held up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at Uwe's last lap though, with 24.2. Togo was a 24.3, so close. And the other thing, Neil Kemp's in front of Togo here on the back straight now. All that's got to happen is they meet him in a nasty place of the track, you know, and this is going to close up.
Yeah, that's a good point on that. The lap traffic, we were wondering if it would play a part, and I think that early wreck did set a couple cars back. Now, I don't see anybody else around Kemp, so I think hopefully it should be a single car for the time being, and then maybe it'll go away. But it still could have a big effect here as we continue to watch Trangrade in the orange machine chasing the red and white of Quesada. I believe we've had a problem with Cam Porter. Looks like he had, a bit of a, not quite a self-spin. He got caught out by Heitor Sintes Galindo and Knickerbrook, and that sent him around, it seems. Try and get another assessment on that in a bit as we now look at Trangrade chasing Quesada, going past Neil Kemp. Yeah, there you go. Great sportsmanship from Neil.
There's pressure here, Joe. Last time Bayove 23.9, Togo 24 flat. Togo's going to start feeling this soon, very soon.
Well, Trangrade is one of those that has a championship to his name, but he is not among the few that has multiple championships. One of the rare ones is sitting next to me, and we just crowned a new one last time in Topi Portiemi. Will we see another multi-time champion join the ranks here in this series?
Yeah, he would deserve it. I mean, he's always had the pace. I mean, I've been racing Uwe for years and years now, and one thing I do know about Uwe, I'm not sure guys watching will know, is he doesn't like leading a race. He never has done. If he is leading a race, he does tend to make a few mistakes. But I know for a fact he's not going to want to stay in second at this place because it is so hard to pass. So he's going to want to get this. I don't know what the lap times were that time, but he's definitely caught him, and this is it. This is it, John. Joe, it's on now.
It was half a second faster last time.
Right, yeah.
He has turned up the wick, and he's got plenty of race to try and see if he can squeeze some lemonade out of this lemon, as Togo Quesada has gotten himself the track position, but doesn't seem like the raw pace in comparison to Trangrade. Despite the lack of practice, suddenly incredibly quick. They come down into Shell Oil Corner, and here's where he needs that launch, because so far, strangely, we never would have predicted the passes that we're seeing here are happening in Knickerbrook of all places.
Yeah, very strange. I wouldn't have expected it whatsoever. I'm watching on board Uwe now, and his car is straight as an arrow down the straight. He's got this thing set up nice. I don't know what setup he's using. He's probably used either John's or mine, because those are the only two that got shared. So yeah, the thing with Uwe is he's got a very strange driving style. He tends to brake quite early, but he doesn't brake as hard. So what happens is he ends up having loads of grip on the front tyres when he turns in, and it always ends up being a nightmare if you're in front of him, because you just see the car just creep up behind you in the mirror right in the middle of the corner. So I'm just watching him now in turn one, and there it is. He just closed the gap slightly. He messed the exit up, but yeah, he's always been like that. He's always been the same. He's the only driver that I've ever known to be able to do it.
Yeah, it often gets described as a driver that likes a loose car, and I gotta think that probably has a lot to do with it right there, the way he handles that thing on the nose. We'll see if it allows him that extra speed to pass Quesada here today. Look at the distance they put on the fin of Mikkola now. It's 2.5 seconds. We're not even seeing him in most of these shots. Here we go, a nice wide one. There he is, finally in the background. It has become a two-horse race, very similar to what we saw back in Canada, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just watching John Oulton. He's slowly catching up with Mikko as well. So hopefully that's going to be another battle we can watch. I was just watching on board with John then. It was like a rodeo going down the back straight. The car was just bouncing up and down everywhere.
It really is. So there you see John coming through as they come around Druid's corner. There is John Oulton now. He's still trying to maybe see if he can get up into the podium positions. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Although Nico must be a little bit better qualifying wise than he is race pace, because after taking the lead away, just can't seem to hold on. We've got a replay here. We've got a onboard once again of Ryan Walker, and he's still working on Richard Watson. However, now he has Sebastian Tixier rocking up behind him.
I was just going to say, maybe you want to sit on Seb and see how this goes. Yeah, you beat me to it. But yeah, this is... someone up in front. Very wide there. Matt Wright. So yeah, this is going to be interesting now for Seb. The cars in front are getting a bit quicker, and I'm not sure they'll want to let him through. So might have been the case early on where guys are just thinking, look, there's no point in holding Seb up and letting him through a bit, but not now.
Yeah, they might be catching up to Matt right now that you mentioned him, because they're not that far away from the 20. Interestingly, we talk about the difficulty in passing. 4th down to 9th are all still sitting in the exact same position they started this race. That was a big look there. Again, coming down to Knickerbrook. These guys must know something we don't about that corner, because it has just suddenly turned into the most popular place to pass this race.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I know they changed the 1x limit on it, I think, so maybe the guys have been able to sort of run a bit, a bit more power on the exit. Not sure about this one, Joe. Ryan's gone well wide there. Seb's going to be on the long side down the front straight. And this is so hard to get the power down. Seb's all over the place on the power, and he's got it done, I think.
Yeah, I was a bit afraid. You talked about the difficulty there. He has to go shallow, and thankfully they both make it through. Yeah, I think that was Ryan trying the cutback. But yeah, over deer leap onto the front stretch. That's another one that's usually a non-corner in most cars. And this thing, when we saw Seb go wide, I thought, oh no, he's going to hit the pit wall.
Yeah, it's so tough. That little crest over the front straight is, if you run it in 3rd gear, you're right at the top of 3rd gear, and you get a bag of wheel spin. What you normally want to do is run sort of, short shift up to 4th, and it will give you a nice run down there. But when you're in the heat of the battle, you just want to keep it in the 3rd gear so you get the most drive, I'm watching Seb again now. He's catching up with Richard.
He's looking already.
Seb. Yeah, he's going to get this done, I think, Joe.
No! Gets into the back of him, right into the gearbox of Richard Watson. He tried the over-under and just did not time it right. Thankfully, neither car looks like they've been spun out by that one, so they're able to carry on. Hopefully no damage on either as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was much of a big hit, but yeah, Seb's trying every move now he can. Let's just watch him now out the last turn. Again, loses a bit of the rear end as he's coming over the crate. Yeah, he sticks it in 3rd gear, so he just wants to get up as far as he can now.
I mean, he is already to the top 10 now that he's passed Walker. So Watson just ahead could be another one that should be done before this is over, because we're down to 11 laps to go. Matt Wright is still within reach, although now they've got the lapped car of Kemp between them. Still the only one we've seen that has had to have been lapped. After that, we'll look for, I think it's like David Rossi's back out on track, and Derek Borlisto is a ways up the road. So down into Shell Oil. Tixier forcing him to go defensive. Watson will be able to retain the spot. And will we see another go at things from Sebastian? If he could get him to go defensive once again, he could maybe pull a dummy. And he is getting him offline just a little down to the inside. Sends it in as deep as he dares. And Tixier side by side. He gives just enough space around the outside. Still wheel to wheel as they climb through Clay Hill. And finally giving up the ghost. Watson pulls off, and Traingray's going for the lead. Now we have another battle. Oh, they're going to bang wheels. They came together. They came together coming out of Lodge Corner and live to tell the tale. And Togo Hisada will stay up ahead. Let's take a look at the replay, Mick. I can't believe they got away with tangling wheels here.
Yeah, just watching it myself, Joe, it looked like, I see what happened. Togo just ran just slightly on the grass with the left rear, and that was all it took, and he lost all the drive, and Uwe was able to get down the outside. But yeah, I don't even know if Togo knew he was there then on the exit.
Trees just getting in our way there, but there you can see the slight bit of contact, and Togo having to dip off the right-hand side suddenly. Here it is right here. Just interlocking. So rare to get away with that as well as they did and carry on and not lose each other either. They're still within 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, amazing. And Uwe's, I'm just looking at the cars now, seeing if there's any damage. Uwe's steering nice and straight. So is Togo's. That's always the giveaway. Togo's under serious pressure this race. I mean, to be that close to the guy, this early on. He's done exactly the same thing again. He's just run wide on the grass out of the right-hander, but he didn't do it quite as bad. See how the entry onto the front straight now. Who was sawing away at the wheel there, trying to get the power down.
What is he not? He's having a good time, that is for sure. I have no doubt he's savoring it as we come down to 9 laps to go now. And Nico's caught up somewhat because of that back and forth, but is still sitting back in third. He's going to hope for them to continue to fight hard like this. And Togo Hisada with about a 0.4 of a second lead here at Oulton Park. It's round 2. Japanese driver has managed a championship himself. I'm not sure what his schedule is like. He's a young lad, as you would describe him, I'm sure, Mick, and has to deal with university and whatnot, so hard to tell how much he can commit to, but we know that when he's able to stick around, he's a serious force.
Oh yeah, very much so. Joined the series as an F2 driver, and we got in the new car, and it just suited his driving style, I think. And he was straight up the front and got his championship. I think he is the only guy. Yeah, he is the only guy that's won an F2 and F1 championship. But for me, Joe, I have to say it again and again because it just blows my mind. Uwe Traingrade, 10 minutes practice for this race.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. It's going to make, I'm sure, some of the guys lower down a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, to know that he can beat that quick. Just at the drop of a hat. So they cross the line once again. Things have settled out. I'm not seeing all that many battles now at this point, although I can say that Tixier's caught up to about half a second of right as we look a little farther back. This is between the pair of Sanchez and Mosquera. Something happened to Sintez Galindo just now. Let's see if he had help on that one. Nope, self-spin, it looks like for him down through Lodge. So we continue to follow these two. Not sure what happened to Sanchez here in this race, as he is usually a little bit higher up. He only had one qualifying lap, so maybe that put him a little far down the order. He's better known online as Heike 360, I think it is. He's a well-known streamer, but he's been fighting for top fives and for wins both in this series. He also races over in the Camel GT series and the Lotus 79, so just another one of those vintage aficionados.
Oh yeah, very much so, and I don't think it's going to be too much longer before he has a go at Javier, because he's looking pretty tasty. Javier's running a little bit wide there, miss the apex there at Knickerbrook. Over that little crest is so tough to do, Joe, that is.
Yeah, like I said, if I'm honest, as much as I know the community loves this track, I hate driving here because I never have a good race at this place. It just kills me.
You know, I'll tell you what, Joe, I loved it because although it's an animal of a place, it's quite high grip, so it just feels like there's a lot more grip than we're used to. So, you know, if you can sort of compare it layout-wise and bump-wise to somewhere like Sebring, I suppose, or Belle Isle even, but it's just got such a high grip level that you can really sort of get stuck in and obviously you're practicing all week and you get used to it. So as all these guys are, apart from Uwe.
Well, it looks like Spickett, Salgado, and Sintes Galindo getting used to each other in a nice little fight for 19th place back here. Ahead of them, there was also some swapping between Lynn, Plumley, and Pellerito. So apologies to the back of the pack, and we haven't covered them as much today, but we had so much action at the front earlier on, and there you can see them coming down into the braking of Island Bend. And they might be approaching Ryan Walker very quickly because he's on the exit of Island Bend. Not exactly where you want to be, excuse me, shallow corner, I should say, the exit there. So what happened to the 6? We watched the replay. Ooh, touching the grass, that's not going to help you.
Yeah, it's not going to help you at all. Yeah, Change of Priorato looking pretty tasty now. I just watched him as he was chasing Robert. Oh, Robert! Oh, Chandler! Oh, he nearly had him there. He nearly went straight into the gearbox there.
Yeah, we've come.
Heart in mouth moment there, Joe.
Yet they thankfully carry on. Coming down as we watch the 27 give chase. This is actually for 17th position. Pellerito seeing if he could then go on the attack here. And now that they've got Ryan Walker, it's gone from a 3 to a 4-car battle. Yanzi Lin very close to the gearbox of the number 6, trying to put the pressure on, square off through Cascades and get the launch down the swift run along Lakeside. Doesn't quite look like he's going to be near enough for this one, though.
Yeah, I was watching Ryan earlier in practice. Good quick lap times from Ryan today. It's a bit of a mystery why he's so far back.
Well, the spin didn't help.
Yeah, the spin didn't help. Yeah, I was expecting him into the well into the 24s or just watching Youngsy. Every time we go down that back straight, I'm just in awe of these guys able to just keep the foot down that back straight because it's so hard. The car just bounces around everywhere. And these guys they're using really scary setups in this car as well.
I think we had an issue for train grade last lap because he's 2 seconds slower last time by, and it shows on our timing tower as well. I'm trying to see where it happened exactly. And it was at the very end of the lap in Lodge. He slid very wide. Mikola is now right behind him. There you can see on screen, that's Miko in the green and white, train grade in the orange. And so it's gone from what was a fight for the lead to now just trying to keep hold of second place. Now his pace has shown that he's been quicker than the Finn up to now, so I'm not sure it's going to be too big of a problem, but that's got to be upsetting with how much of a threat he was for the victory up to that point.
Now here's the thing I was saying, Joe. Remember I said about Uwe doesn't like leading. This, to him, is a battle that he's leading, so he might not be comfortable where he is. Let's wait and see, because I've seen different sides of Uwe. When he's leading a battle, he can drive away, but other times he really struggles. You're telling yourself that. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens there with this gap.
This time by, it's going to be 4 laps to go. Oh, behind them, Jorge Nieva has also had an off. This was through Druids, and another one that really did a good job gathering this up, because usually in Druids you don't have small accidents. He managed to just skitter off into the gravel and eventually return, losing the spot to Quellen.
Yeah, might want to be having a look at Seb now, guys. He's catching Gary Quellen. Well, he's actually, Laust Olsen. He's right in the gearbox of Laust Olsen now.
Olsen in the number 9, with Sebastian Tixier going from 27th to 8th, and hoping that maybe he can take 7th place here.
Oh, this is
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just noticed him. I just noticed Laus going into the left-hander. He really missed the apex there. Let's just see how Seb controls this now. Tough to get this car down into the apex here in the camber. Seb has, he's got a nice late apex there. So let's see, is it flat out down through this kink? It will be for a few guys. I don't know about Seb's car though, because he's got it set up so loose. Is he going to go for a braking move? Yeah, he's going to go for this, Joe. This is all done.
Oh, look at that. That was, I think, an early lift.
Yeah, Laus let through there.
Almost had the cutback, though, and it looks like Sebastian's going to be able to cover that off. So 7th place now for Tixier. If it does wind up being a championship run for Seb, this is going to be a race to look back at, because what a recovery is behind him. Laust Oulton spins off. He's on the racing line. Thankfully, nobody runs into the side of him, despite getting stuck right there across the track, and he falls all the way down to 10th.
Yeah, just watching what happened. Yeah, he just went in too hot there, didn't he?
Unfortunately, we're going to take a look at the replay, and wow, it went on him late, if anything. That's interesting. That was almost completely through the corner, and then suddenly the rear just goes and eventually gets on the power and is back along his way. We're going to watch one more time. Did he downshift? That's a very strange place for that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he just went in a bit too hot. It looked like he was at full lock to the right as well to try and save it, which probably didn't help, but yeah, it was a bit of a strange one.
All right, we need to go back to Nieva and Tixier, because Tixier has already caught the next car in line. What's the fastest lap for Sebastian here? 23.9. That's a 10th off of Hisada's quickest lap, who I think has the fastest lap of the race right now. So, yeah, Sebastian definitely would have been fighting for the win if it wasn't for messing up the qualifying here today.
Yeah.
He is 13.5 seconds off of Hisada. That's after passing almost the entire field, and he's going to add one more to the tally here with an incredible bit of grip coming off of Lodge Corner, off the exit of the turn from the inside. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a great bit exit there. Again, though, I just watched him on the exit of turn 1. He just gives it a bootful, and the back goes on him. You know, I'm just wondering if this is the way he sets the car up. I've never actually watched or spoken to him how he sets the car up, whether he uses his own set or whatever. But I know, you know, we all know he had a bit of a pig of a season last season because he did make a lot of mistakes. I'm just wondering if he has that car set. I mean, you know, it's like Uber but extreme.
It could be, yeah. And he, I mean, ironically you say that, it does look like he's got a bit of a car that looks like almost a sister livery to Ove train grade, so maybe they are swapping notes in some form or fashion. Takes it down through Knickerbrook, but they're going to get the white flag next time by, so unless he's got massive pace advantage over Quellen, this 6th place might be as high as he climbs.
He was full on counter steering down the back straight there. The car went to the left and then the right, and he was, you know, that car has got such an angry rear end on it. Just watching him again, is he going to... No, again, he loses the rear end again. It's just the way the car's set up. He's lost the rear end again on the little crest over the hill there. It's going to be really quick. I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you can set the car up like this and drive it, it is very quick when you do that. But yeah, it's so tough to, especially around this place, so tough to get the power down.
Togo Hisada, not sure if he's the youngest champion we've had, but surely is in contention for that here in the Grand Prix Legend Series. And you know what? Actually, I need to check and see how many wins he's had, because he's starting to tally more of those up. Before, I remember seeing his first win. It was on an oval of all places at Indianapolis, and since then has proven he's just as good here on the road courses as well. With half a lap to go, Hisada brings it around into Druids. It's a handy 2-second gap over train grade. Ever since he had that mistake, he has basically told him, stay back, and you are not going to challenge for this top spot anymore. Down through the last turn, effectively out of Lodge Corner. Togo Hisada is going to take the win in round 2 of the Grand Prix Legend Series.
Nice lap by Uwe again to stay ahead of Mikko there. I know how much pressure he would have been feeling, even though there was a gap. Nice drive by Mikko there for 3rd as well.
That was win number 5 for Togo. Ove in 2nd. Mikkola, how about that drive for the 16? Yes, he lost a spot, but he retained 3rd, so on to the podium. John Olsen, just shy, unfortunately. Could have been on there. Oh, we had a problem with Seamus Power. Seamus Power seems like he has lost the car out of Druids. He's going to lose a couple positions, unfortunately. He's got it going, so at least he can crawl to the finish line.